What's going on, everybody? My name's Jerome, and thank you so much for joining me on my brand new YouTube channel, Influencers Impact. Before we go any further, I really would appreciate your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing to this channel. This channel will be filled with interviews with Christian artists and creatives that are making an amazing impact within their industry. I'm so excited to share with you guys an interview with the man himself, Joe L. Barnes. Who you're going to find featured on the latest song by Maverick City Music called Promises. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
What's up, man?
Hey man, what's going on?
I can't complain. I'm trying to rebuke this late spirit. I think the last two lives I was late because like I had technical difficulties on my phone. So trying to make sure I'm on time
No, that's
on this.
good, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. What's going on?
Not too much. I'm trying to stay warm. It's raining where we're at, but doing the best we can to live this pandemic to the best of our ability.
Yeah, where are you at? Where are you located?
So I'm in Ontario, Canada.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm in
wow. So you're the
Canada, man.
second person that's actually interviewed from Canada. I got a friend out in Canada. My homeboy Kyle is in Canada. A friend of mine in Kiana is in Canada. My
Okay.
friend Grace, like I met Kiana and Grace through Map City. They came to the
Yeah.
camps and they're from Canada. So I have a few friends that are in Canada. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. Where are you at?
I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. All right. That's
Hmm.
always a place I want to go one day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You should definitely come. I mean, I think it's a definite, like, it's really beautiful out here. The people are beautiful. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing, man. Amazing.
Well, when this pandemic ends, hopefully I can be able to make a trip down there.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Absolutely. And hey, man, listen, let me know when you come down. We'll hang out. I'll show
Yeah,
you
yeah,
around the
for
city.
sure. We'll do that. We'll do
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Well, I just want to thank you for taking the time to taking the time of your day to do this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, anytime. Anytime.
You're the best, man.
I appreciate it,
You're
man.
the best. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Man, go for it. Go
All
for it.
right, bro. So I know right now the season that we're in, life is different. But on
Yes.
an average day, on a normal life, what does your day look like on an average time?
Sorry, my bad. I'm putting
Oh,
my phone
that's
on airplane mode because I keep getting calls. Go ahead.
oh, no worries, no worries. I was saying, so on a what does an average day look like for you normally?
Um,
Like without COVID-19, what does an average day look like?
you know what? Honestly, like COVID hasn't really affected like life as usual for me lately, especially because like most of the time, and especially in this season, I've been in the house a lot anyway. Just like
Mhm.
get up, I'll read, like I'll study some stuff, like I'll read about like I'm just learning. Like I've been studying. Okay, so I'm letting you into a very intimate part of my like
Yeah,
study. So I've been studying stuff about like the light and like studying about like refraction and like what light does and how it affects like our everyday life. Like I'm just on this like amazing journey with the Lord. Um, the only thing it did affect is like, we can't get out the house. So like usually I go to hang to spend time with my mentor,
mhm.
or my shepherd's tent family. But my normal day to day is like me getting up, spending time with the Lord, reading, studying, writing some stuff. Maybe I'll try to write a song if I feel it. Um, go for a run, work out, eat good, cook something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, other than that, man, I just binge watch TV shows and stuff like that. But that's a normal day for me. Nothing too
Okay,
major. Nothing really has changed much.
that's good to hear, man. Especially the eat and write part and having to stay at home. Do you do home workouts?
Yes, 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 yes,
And do you
yes.
find
Lots
that
of push-ups
they're
and sit-ups
easier to
and
do, or
burpees and all of that. Yeah, I mean it's easier to do, you know what I mean? Because it's all like body weight. Like I think that like it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to like just stay fit and stay in shape, then yeah, but home workouts are amazing. But if you're trying to bulk up, like the only way you bulk up is by lifting heavier weight. So
exactly?
you have to go to a gym to do that, or you have to be innovative. Fill your suitcase with a bunch of stuff and like lift that, or
Yeah.
get like some paint cans like that are full and like curl those, stuff like
Hmm.
that. Oh my God, my people on here. Charity, what's up? Kenzie, what's up? Yo, Charity, don't come for me. I can cook, and you know that.
That's right. You tell him, man.
Yeah, man.
You
But
tell him. One of the things I do, it's pretty ghetto, but I have a cloth bag and it's full of rocks, and I
mm-hmm,
use that as dumbbells.
mm-hmm. Yep, 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 yep. Something that I learned from my friends is it's also ghetto. Like they fill up a trash bag with water and then tie it up and put it into a t-shirt and tie that up and it would
Oh
curl
wow,
that waterway. Yeah.
wow, I like that. I like that.
Mm.
So what do you like to cook? What's some of your favorite foods?
I do like to be. I like a lot of times like I cook salmon, like
Okay.
salmon with coconut rice and maybe like a baked sweet potato. I might make like Alfredo, or like a shrimp Alfredo or chicken Alfredo or something like that.
Hey,
Um,
man.
Baked barbecue chicken, mac and cheese. Like you know what I mean. One of my favorite dishes that I've made that I haven't made in a while is this thing called brown buttered honey garlic salmon.
Okay.
So you need like you would need like a cast iron skillet to do it. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? But like it's pretty like it's pretty simple, but it's phenomenal,
Wow,
phenomenal.
I'm definitely coming to Atlanta. I'm coming to your house, man.
Oh man, I got you. I got you.
I'm coming to your house, bro. So one of the things you were saying, like in an average day, you talked about songwriting.
Hmm.
So what does that process look like with writing songs? What does that look like for you?
Um, for me, like I feel like sometimes I feel so limited because like I don't play an instrument. So
Hmm.
like I think that's a like an issue for me sometimes. I'm just like I don't play an instrument, but I know what I want to hear. I know what I feel. So like one of the things that I focus on like when I'm writing a song is I don't try to like pick a topic and write on it. I literally just write whatever I feel and what comes out comes out. You know what I mean? I think that,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like that's the point, like tapping into what you feel and writing from that place because anybody can put like words together, you know what I mean? But I think that when you feel like there's a million ways to say one thing, but it takes the right way to say it to where it like pulls on the heartstrings or like you like people feel it when they hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a words person, so like for me, like I love words. Like I can hear a phrase and I'm like, wow, I feel that. You know, I'm like on Instagram, on social media, like, well, when such and such did this, I felt that. Like
Hmm.
that's because like words have such an amazing power. You know what I mean? Like so put in the right order, like they can really pull on some strings, you know what I mean? Like I think I heard somebody say a quote that stuck out to me. It said that um airports have seen more sincere kisses than weddings, and
Hmm.
hospital walls have heard more sincere prayers than churches.
Wow.
And that stuck out to me. I'm like, yo, that is crazy. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
stuff pulls on strings. So like for me, like as a songwriter, I love like putting like crazy words together. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that pull on the string. So me sitting down, like I just write whatever I feel, and what
Hmm.
comes out. Regardless of style or genre or whatever. Like whatever comes out comes out.
Yeah. So you're saying like, and that's powerful, man. I want to thank you for sharing that. Like, I like that quote. I might have to use that.
Hmm.
But I
My
love how
mentor isn't
you were.
alive.
Sorry.
My mentor isn't alive. My spiritual father isn't alive. What's
Okay.
up, Mark?
So
Okay.
you were saying that you don't play any instruments, but you like the words that come to your mind. You like using your words. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of, have you always always written songs, always been involved in worship in different ways? Like, were you in a choir or anything like that, or is this just something new?
So I mean, I grew up in church, spent my life in church. Like I grew up
Hmm.
in a non-denominational church, and like my mom was the choir director when I was little. So she,
Okay.
of course, like I was just thrown into the children's choir as a kid,
Yeah.
and
Same
I've
here.
been pretty much singing all my life. But I didn't actually start writing songs till I was about 16. My older brother, like, was a songwriter, and like we would take long car rides from Kentucky to Atlanta all the time.
Hmm.
So during those long car rides, he would be writing, and he would ask me about lyrics. He would ask me about things that he's like, "What do you feel when you hear this?" And it kind of like beckoned me into songwriting. So then I started to like want to do what he did. Like I just wanted to be like my older brother. So I started like
Wow.
dabbling in songwriting, and I tried to write my own songs. I love you, Mark. So yeah, like, and then like I joined EJM. I joined Eddie's ministry, and like I didn't know what a worship leader was. I didn't even know that like this was a major thing like in
Yeah.
that. I just like was wanting to get the experience of traveling, but then like I got connected with like my lifelong friends in the group Ultimate Call, and like we discovered um like that there's so much beauty in worship, and like I think it really helped me cultivate like my heart for worship because I think I always had a respect for it. I always had like a heart for it, but I didn't know
Yeah.
like that it would become like such a major part of my life outside of just like being seen. Like I didn't know that in my private time like I would love worship. I didn't know that there was that I didn't even come to the revelation until later that we were all created to worship, you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
like
Yeah, man.
so man, it's definitely like something that's been a part of my life. I just didn't recognize that it was a part of my life
Mm,
until later on. So yeah.
mm. Dude, that's dope. I like that. Yeah, I've been realizing that recently because I started playing piano when I was 6.
Hmm.
My parents forced me into it, but I really wanted to be a drummer, and so
Hmm.
I didn't take playing piano seriously until when I was 10. I started playing drums, and I always thought that your talent, your gifts, was for you. And I
Hmm.
grew up in the church too, and I didn't actually understand that my gifts and talents are for God. I'm
Hmm.
supposed to use it for Him. So I remember I was in junior high and I was playing drums, and no one knew. I kept it to myself, and someone came up to me like, "You're a drummer." And I'm like, how do you know that? They're like, I can just tell. Can you be on the worship team on Friday? I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want you guys to thank me for this gift. Like it's not mine. I want to do it for God. And I had to realize if God gave me that ability, He's going to take care of all the other stuff. I don't need to be perfect. I just got to be available. Um,
Hmm.
and so
Come on.
yeah, man, I love what you said. Like it's not about having all of the gifts and talents, the bells and whistles. Let's just being available and let God take care of the rest. So what you said was really dope, man. That was really good.
My sister said God snitched on you.
He actually did. Honestly, he actually did because I didn't tell anybody. And all of a sudden, this girl comes up to me. She's like, "You play drums?" I'm like, "Sure, I guess." Um, but then even in my own life, like lately, and my parents they forced me in the choir when I was really young, and I started writing songs a little bit. But even more recently, I started leading worship with some people.
Hmm.
And I'm realizing like what you're saying. Sometimes words just come to you, and you don't know where it's coming from, and you just write it down on a page, and like God will just reveal so much to you. So that was really good what you
Hmm.
said. So I know you mentioned that you got a mentor, but who are some people that inspire you in life?
In life in general, or just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in
yeah.
worship?
And
Um,
in general, who are some people that inspire you?
I mean, like,
We'll
okay,
start
well,
there.
as it pertains to like the worship culture, definitely like people like Stephanie Gretzinger, Amanda Cook, Jeremy
Hmm.
Riddle, my sister Charity, just a lot of like my friend Dante, just in the worship culture, like you know what I mean, like they are some of like the people that like I look at, I'm like, yo, I need to like dig deeper, you know what I mean? Like I see it, and there's a lot of times that I get like nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I want what they have. Like God, I
Mm,
don't want what they got because I don't know what they paid to get it. But it's just like I'm inspired about their walk. Like they spend time with the Lord. Like that's the only way that you can even like have that much oil, or that you have to have revelation. You have to have like relationship. In life though, like of course my mentor inspires me. I feel like everybody in my life inspires me in some way. Like my
mhm.
best friends bring out the best in me. That's what I
That's right.
believe. So like everybody in my life inspires me in some way. Like I think that that's the point. But um a lot of like people that I'm inspired by are I'm inspired by Will Smith and like how
Mm,
he lives his, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, man.
he's so much about information. He's always about learning stuff and like the point of life and like all of that. I'm inspired by this guy. You probably know who he is, but I'm inspired by J. Cole. Like
Yeah, yeah.
his because like yes, he's a rapper, but like the way he lives his life is different. Like he's just like, yeah, no, I thought like there's a quote that he said. He was like, I thought when I was young that success was all I needed. You know what I mean? But then I get success and realize that the happiness isn't there. And then I
Mm,
realize that like true happiness comes from like being a better son to your mother and your father, being a better brother to your sister, being a better husband, being a better father. Like that's the stuff that really matters. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
I'm like that right there is the life that I want to live. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That kind of life, like behind closed doors. I want to be a good son. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good husband. Because all the other stuff like can fade. You know what I mean? Like the drug. He
Hmm.
said the drug of more is the most addictive thing in the world. Once you get a 50,000 followers, you got to get 100. Once you get 100,000, I got to get five. Once I get 500, I got to get a million. It's like you're never satisfied.
That's right.
So like you have to find satisfaction in, you know what I mean, your immediate vicinity. If I can't change the lives of the people that I'm around in my immediate vicinity, what does it look like for me to change the world? To try to
Right.
change the world. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
so J. Cole, Will Smith, um, John Bellion, Charlie Puth. Like I'm inspired by a lot of people
Hmm.
like in my life, like both in the secular industry and in the sacred, and people that probably the world doesn't even know about yet, but they
Yeah,
will. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. That's right.
there's a guy named Damon Thompson that a lot of people know about, but they don't. But I'm inspired by these people because, like,
Hmm.
man, they just have like, I feel like they are on the right path to discovering what life is really about outside of like what like culture says is this is the meaning of life. Like, nah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's a perspective that not many people are like really leaning towards. Like
yeah.
everybody's just like, you need to be out here doing this and that. And I'm like, yeah, nah. Like I can see people doing this and that, and like they're not happy.
Hmm.
And it's no, and you know what I mean. And it's not like any shots toward them or any like disrespect. It's just that like there's got to be more. There's got to
Yeah,
be more than that. You know what I mean? There has
yeah,
to be more. And I think that the people that I'm inspired by have found the path to the more to life than the accolades,
yeah.
the lights, the camera, the action. Like they found home, they found peace, they found like safety. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So
No,
yeah.
that's good. And one of the things that, like you were saying, with how they found so much more other than the glam, the glory, the lights. I'm a youth pastor, and so I tell our students all the time, like whenever you're in a service or you're experiencing a time of worship with God, you don't need instruments. You know, you don't need the fancy lights. You don't need people jumping up down, acting like a fool to spend that time. Like you just need to strip that all away, and what you're left with, that's it. And it just reminds me of like how the church now, how we can't meet in local or local buildings, but many people are doing like videos like this, or they're doing Zoom calls, or they're doing live stream services from home, and yet we're
Mm-hmm.
still able to have that time, because at the end of the day, if we just know who we're pursuing, that's what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, like you're saying, they want to chase after the accolades, they want to chase after success,
Mm-hmm.
where they're like, okay, if I get a girlfriend this week, then I can get another one next week, and I'll be popular. People will accept me.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times we look at those that inspire us and don't realize they're normal people too. They
Mm-hmm.
have successes, they got failures, they go through stuff, but a lot of them have to realize it's not about them. It's about
Mm-hmm.
so much more than them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So during like this season right now, in this pandemic that we're going through, how has your relationship with God grown?
Um, During the time of pandemic, I feel like I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna like be careful when I say this, but I
No,
have to
it's
say it.
okay.
Like
It's okay. Be honest.
I feel like my relationship was already on the way of growing because like I said, life didn't change when the pandemic hit. Like
Mm-hmm.
only difference is that I can't like leave my house, but like I wasn't leaving the house that much anyway. Like I literally
Right.
have been on this path with the Lord, like this journey with the Lord, and just walking and learning like day by day, and not necessarily being perfect, but just like you said, being available. Like I just been spending time with the Lord regardless. So like I feel like for a lot of us as believers, life didn't change much because we were already in the thick of a walk with the Lord. We were
Yeah.
already in the thick of the relationship. Like we were learning, and I feel like we've been listening for the whispers anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
like life didn't really change much. I'm still at home, like in my house, like going after the things, like just really getting to know Him on a deeper level. You know what I mean? Like I've just been in this place with the Lord. I'm just like, I want to know the real you. I want to know you, not the one that I was taught about as a kid, not the one I was taught about in the nursery rhymes. No, I want to know the real you, the authentic you, the untainted you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
teach
Yeah,
me
man.
that. I'll abandon everything that I think that I know about you for you to teach me who you really are. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I'll say yes to whatever path you have me on so that I can know the real you. You know what I mean? The real Yahweh, the untainted version. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's good, man. And
So,
and, and even what you said right there, it's so true, because if we already have that relationship, for us, our lives really doesn't change as long as we keep doing what we're already doing.
hmm
And I find sometimes people wait till life happens like this, where everything comes to a stop, then they want to go pursue a purpose. They want to go
hmm
pursue God, because they're like, oh, life is shutting down. Now I got to find out if God's real, and we should be doing this all the time. When life is good, or when life is bad, regardless, we always should be pursuing Him and spending that time. So that's good, man.
hmm hmm
Yeah. So what would you
Yeah.
say are some of your dreams or some of your goals in life?
Um, if you asked me this question about a year ago, two
Yeah.
years ago, my answer would be different than what it is now. 2 years ago, my answer would have been like, man, I wanna travel the world. I wanna make number one hit songs. I want like plaques all over my house. Like I want Grammys. I want double awards. Like I want blah blah
Mm.
blah. And like all of that stuff is fine. Like I have a different perspective about that stuff now. Like like the only reason, honestly, that I want like awards and stuff now is because they're considered they're considered the modern day crowns, and in the kingdom we don't wear our crowns, we lay them at the feet of Jesus.
That's right.
So the only reason I want those modern day crowns now is so that I have a bigger reward to lay at his feet. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But
yeah.
what I want above all else, I just want to be a son. I want to love God. I want to be a good husband, and I want to be a good father.
Mm,
Everything else, it'll come, or if it doesn't, then it's fine. But I just want to be, those three things I want to be. I want to love God. I want to be a good son. I want to
yeah.
be a good husband. I want to be a good father. That's
Yeah.
it. Everything else is fine. Like we'll figure that out. But those are the goals. Those are the dreams that I have right
Hmm.
now. You know what I mean? Because now, like, I really credit all of this stuff to like my walk and my mentor. Like they've been teaching me some of this crazy, like some of this stuff that is so important. You know what I mean? Like we've been making decisions that affect us, but we haven't even been thinking about how it will affect our kids or our grandkids,
That's right.
how it'll affect the next generation.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
now, like my decisions are through the lens of how is this going to affect the next generation in a positive way? How is this going to lay the foundation for them to build on?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to lay the foundation solid so that the next generation can build on it, and it's not going to waver. It's not gonna falter. It's not gonna crack. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Stephanie Gretzinger said she sings "King of My Heart" so passionately and so fervently because she wants the next generation to have a foundation that is solid, that says God is good and He will remain good through the ages.
Yeah.
That's what I want, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
Like I'll say yes to whatever path God has me on, so that my kids can see the dead raised, so that my
Hmm.
kids can see blind eyes open.
Yeah.
I want that. That's what, you know what I mean. That's my dream. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
Dude, that I could let you go on forever. Like that was good right
no,
there.
man.
That was so good, man. Thank you for sharing that. So I know not a lot of people probably know, but you're featuring on a song with Maverick City Music,
Mm-hmm.
Promises.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get to kind of how that worked, what does that song mean to you? The song Promises. What does that mean to you?
Wow, you getting into some deep stuff, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm doing.
No,
I'm
no, you're good.
doing
No, you're
it.
good. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Honestly, the song promises, like it basically means like when God promises us something, he's going to do it. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't failed us once. He hasn't let us down once. He won't start now. Like
Mm,
you can bet your life on it. You can build your life on it. You can bank on it. Like if he places his word above his name. Like if he said it, he will do it. So if he said it, I believe it. And that and then the thing is like the heart behind promises is that like it's kind of like an encouragement to the people that are listening, but also an encouragement to me as I'm singing it because it's like the reality is sometimes waiting on the promise gets hard.
yeah.
Sometimes waiting to see the promise gets hard. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult because like of course like we have that those moments like God, I'm ready to see the promises that you made to me. Like I'm ready to see these things come to pass. But then the other perspective is another perspective is we expect to walk outside the next morning after we receive a promise into a
Mm,
fully grown tree of promise. Like we expect the promise to grow overnight, and that's not the way that it happens.
yeah.
Like a tree takes seasons, you know what I mean? It takes seasons with the Lord for a tree to grow, you know what I mean? And when we walk outside and see nothing, or we see that everything around us doesn't look anything like what we were promised, we get discouraged. But
Mm,
you know, like I said, but a friend, well, a guy that I'm inspired by named Ben Hastings said that sequoia trees, which are some of the largest trees and some of the oldest trees on earth,
hmm.
need the harshness of winter in order to grow. If they don't have a harsh winter, they won't grow. If everything around them doesn't look desolate or like isn't cold, like chilling and cold, they won't grow. They need that in order to like grow properly. But they grow to
Mm,
be hundreds of feet tall, like and live to be thousands of years old. So like the when on in the seasons that it looks desolate or in the seasons that nothing looks like what God promised us, we don't understand how necessary that season is
yeah.
for us to grow. You know what I'm saying? But the other perspective leads back to what I was saying earlier, like how does the promise like if I don't see the promise in my lifetime, I will say yes to stewarding the promise so that the next generation sees it.
Yeah.
Moses was given the promise that God was going to deliver his people into the promised land. And he was a part of stewarding the promise, but he never saw the promised land.
That's right. Yeah, man.
David was given the promise that the temple was going to be rebuilt, but he never got to rebuild the temple. Solomon did. So what was promised in one generation was made manifest in the next generation. You see what I'm saying? But you have
Okay.
to steward the promise even if you don't see it.
Mm,
Let's bring it to the modern day. The man who invented Walmart, he stewarded the promise so that Walmart would be super Walmart today through his kids. His kids made it super Walmart, and now it's global. But for him,
Wow.
he stewarded the promise in his season. You see what I'm saying? So like, what was maybe like started small in one season was just blew up in the next season because you stewarded the promise well. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Mhm.
that's the thing about the promises, man. Like, you have to be okay if you don't see the promise in your time frame. You
Yeah.
have to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Because God still performed. He still like kept his promise. He honored
Mhm.
the promise. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're still living in the promise today. Like, he hasn't flooded the earth since made the promise to Noah that he wouldn't flood the earth anymore. We still see the promise today in the rainbow. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it was promised all those years ago, but we're still living in the promise today. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this song is so special because it's so timely. Because like, we're in the thick of like this like pandemic, and it's just like so many people are affected in a negative way. And but the thing is, this is the desolate season. This is when things are looking like nothing is going to happen, or it's turning for the worse. But like, I feel like it's only setting the stage for God to really show himself, to
Yeah.
be a promise keeper, a covenant keeper. You know what I'm saying? To show
Yeah.
himself miraculous. You know what I mean? Like, let hope arise. I want to encourage anybody listening, let hope arise in your hearts, like that God is going to honor his promise. He's going to honor his word. Don't let fear and anxiety and like all of that stuff trying to set in on your heart. Like, God is a promise keeper. He's never going to let you down. He's never going to fail you, ever. He cannot lie and he cannot fail. So you can bank on it. You can bet your life on it. You can be anchored in it. Like, that foundation, let that foundation be laid in your heart that God is a promise keeper and he's not going to lie to you. He's not going to fail to you. He's not going to fail you. So
That's so good, man. Wow, that's so good. You got me going, man. You got me going. I'd be the guy behind you going, amen, man. That's so good. And it just makes that not even just the song, but the whole project just seem so timely with everything that we're dealing with. Just like you said, it just puts into perspective. Like, and I love what you said. A lot of us will receive some type of vision or some type of dream or something that God will download into our hearts.
mm,
And so many of us, once we get it, we're like, okay, God, you gave us the dream, so I'm sure we're going to receive the worth at the end of it. And that's not always the
mm,
case. God will always
yeah.
say, all right, here's the seed. Now I want you to take it and go plant it for someone else to reap the harvest.
Mm,
And I think that kind of shows who's really in it for God and who's really in it for the glory for themselves. And it makes me even wonder, or not wonder, but to live my life to know that if God tells me to do something, I'm going to do it because I know it's not really benefiting me. It's going to benefit those that are going to come after me. It's going to
mm-hmm,
benefit my wife and I, like our future children. It's going to
mm-hmm,
benefit their children. It's going to benefit so many others. And just like
mm-hmm,
you said, if we're okay with that and we know who we're doing it for, and it's not for us, we're doing it for God, then whatever it is, like God, I'm all in. If you want me to move across the world for some reason, I'm all in. You know,
mm-hmm,
and it's just so raw, but it's so real at the same
mm-hmm,
time to know that God can use ordinary people like us. Just like you said, how you were looking at some of the other artists that some of your friends, thinking, God, I don't know if I can do what they can do, but at the same time, there's something inside of you that the people need. There's
mm-hmm,
something inside of you that God wants to use for others to say, hey, you know what? I didn't think I could do this, but if my man here is doing it, then maybe I can,
mm-hmm.
So that's good, man. So kind of talk about, because I know we got into the heart of that song. So how did you get involved with Maverick City Music? Did you go to their music camp, or
Mm-hmm.
have you always been a part of it? So what did that look like for you?
Um, so a friend of mine, Dante, was a part of it. And he started like maybe May-ish of or something like that in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So then last year, around June, he like was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take you with me." He's like, "I know it's invite only, but I'm gonna try to get you in there." I'm like, "All right, cool." So, we went and um, the promise was actually written my first camp, like I think maybe the second day or something like that, or maybe like the first or second day of the camp. Like, I sat down with some friends of mine and we started the concept of promises, man. And um, I think after like they heard it, they were like, I started getting my own invites after that. They started inviting me to all the rest of the camps after that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's how I got involved with Maverick City. I had no idea what it was or like what it was about. I just knew that like people were coming together to go after what God wanted and share our hearts together. And it's really special. What God is doing in Maverick City is amazing. He's really breathing on a lot of the gatherings together, man, and it's really, really special in those moments. So
That's good. Well, I'm not going to keep you. I just got one more thing I'll ask, and then we'll close this off. But I know there's many people are watching from all over the world, different walks of life. What would you say to that person who right now is in a state of they want to pursue a calling, or they want to pursue something that God has for them, but they're afraid. They're stuck in that fear. What would you say to someone who's going through that right now?
someone who's like wanting to pursue something but they're afraid. Honestly,
Yeah.
there's probably two things I could say. I mean, we could say the cliche thing like, "Oh, don't be afraid. Like God will be with you," which is true.
Mm.
But honestly, I've been in that predicament of being afraid of like stepping out, and I just got to a point where like at this point I'm just gonna go scared.
Yeah.
Even if I'm afraid, I'm gonna go afraid. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like fear can either hinder you, or it can be a motivation. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? You can either fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. Like you have a choice. Like I think that at this point, like there are things that I'm afraid of, but I'm at this point I'm going scared. God, I'm terrified, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna let fear win. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
let fear withhold me from what you're asking me to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like Moses was afraid. He had a stuttering problem. He was like,
Mm.
God, I don't wanna I can't even talk right. Like, why would you want to send me? You see what I'm saying? Like fear will make you come up with so many excuses as to why not to do something. But you have to really like either use your fear as motivation as a fire to fuel you, or you can let it hinder you. But honestly, like as honest as I can be, like at this point, go scared. Even if
Yeah.
you're terrified and God is calling you into doing it, just take your fear with you. Like, God, I'm
Yeah.
terrified, but I'm not gonna let it keep me here.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I think if you think about a situation, like there's people that do two different things in a situation of being afraid. You either stand still or you fight back.
Mm.
So which one are you going to do? Are you going to stand there and let it take you over, or are you going to take your fear with you and fight?
That's
So I think if you're afraid of doing it, then do it anyway. I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway, God. Like I'm scared to do what you're asking me to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I know you're not gonna leave me here. You're not gonna ask me to do something that's gonna harm me or hinder me or damage me. You're a good father, and good fathers don't lead their children into danger or into harm's way.
mm.
You see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
honestly want to open up the floor for them to have questions. Anybody in
Yeah.
the audience
Yeah. For
want to ask
sure.
questions?
Totally.
So if you
Totally.
guys have questions, man, please by all means ask. Like I want to answer some of you guys' questions before we
Hmm.
close out.
I know I saw someone earlier. They said to save this live and to use it for to send it off to other people because of what we've been talking about has been good for them.
Hmm. I
So I'll
agree. I
definitely do
think we
that.
should.
Yeah.
We should. Oh my gosh. Kayla, I love you. Josh. Joshua Cecil, I love you. Oh man. So many of my friends came in. Lizzie, I love you so much. Matt,
How are you?
I
So
love you.
cool.
The architect is in here. Josh, I love you. I love you. I love you, Josh. Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
We got a
Nobody have
question
any
here.
questions?
Yeah, there's one here. It says, "What was the first thing you were scared to do that God called you to?"
Um, First thing that God called me to do, God led me to do that I was scared of, was to quit my job and join Eddie's ministry.
Wow.
They like I remember them calling me um that Tuesday, and I went to work that Friday and put in my letter of resignation, and I left that Monday. I was terrified because I'm just like I'm quitting a very good job. I was working at the hospital in registration,
Wow.
making about like $15 an hour.
Yeah.
It was a decent job, and I was fresh out of high school. Like I was fresh out of high school, and I landed a job at the hospital working in registration in the emergency room, and I was making good money for a high school for like you know what I mean, my first year out of high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I felt God say you need to go and join the ministry. I'm like, all right, I'm terrified out of my mind.
Yeah.
But without that, I wouldn't have met like a lot of my lifelong friends that I met here. I wouldn't have met my mentor. I met
Right.
my mentor through that ministry. You know what I mean? I was because of like the friendships and the things that happened. Like man, it orchestrated me to get here. All of
Hmm.
everything that's happened in my life either good or bad, has navigated me here, has
Yeah.
landed me here in this day and time, in this moment in history that'll never happen again. So I'm just so grateful, and I honor every situation, good, bad, and
Mhm.
ugly. I honor every situation because it landed me here where I'm supposed to be in God.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? In the season that you're in right now, what do you feel like you? Who do you feel like you can relate to in the Bible, and why? Um,
Good question.
there's a few people, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you can say like I don't know if it's for me to say, but like you can like you can find so many scriptures that line up with this. Like you can talk about the David, like how like being anointed in the field and then being brought into the palace and all that stuff. But like me personally, I more so feel like the Elijah, like
Mm.
you know what I mean, coming out when I'm supposed to, and then going back into hiding when I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I wanna. I don't know if I should say this on the live, but I'm going to. Like, I feel like in this season, there's a lot of people that want to be seen, and I just want to be hidden. So it's like I'm gonna
Yeah.
like come out whenever like God, as God's like leading me. Of course, I'll come out and say and like do whatever He wants me to do. But I'm going right back into my little world, hidden away from
Mhm.
everything. So
Yeah, man. I agree
Elijah,
with it.
that's why. What's the main thing you learned serving Eddie James ministry? The main thing that I've learned in EJM is there's so oh my God, there's so many things I've learned from EJM. Oh my God, I learned the line in the lamb concept. I learned like when you're on a platform, lead as roaring like a lion, like serve the Lord and lead like we're roaring as a lion. But when you come off the platform, be as gentle as don't feel like nobody can get to you. Don't feel like you're too high and mighty to talk to people. No, you need to be gentle and serving like a lamb, and when be willing to love on people and love God's people. It's not about you. It's about God and connecting the gap between God and His people. That's the point. I learned that it's not us leading worship to a congregation of
Mm.
1,000 people. It's one. We are all one massive worship team leading worship to the audience of one, who is
That's
God.
right.
He's
That's
the
right.
only person. You're never bigger than the audience. That's another thing that I've learned in serving Eddie's ministry. Um, Last thing that I think I've learned from serving Eddie's ministry. There's so many great principles. I'm trying to like pick
Mm.
one. I'm trying to just pick one. Um,
I know it's hard.
Man. Oh, last one. Doesn't matter who God's using to speak as long as He's speaking.
Mm.
A lot of times, worship leaders, like a lot of times, like our humanistic nature is to like want to be the person that's leading the charge, that's being in the front line. You know what I mean? We want to be the one that's you know what I mean, being the it person or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm personally learned from EJM like I don't care who God's using to speak as long as He's speaking. It doesn't have to be me. I don't have to be the person leading worship. I honestly prefer somebody else to do it anyway. I would much rather fan the flame, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
fan the flame as if it is me leading because I don't care who God's using to speak as long as He's speaking. I just want to hear Him talk. So if it's my brother, if it's my cousin, if it's my neighbor, if it's somebody I don't even know like that, man, if God's using them to speak or to lead or like God's breathing on it, then it's
Mm.
for them to be highlighted right now, and that's who God wants to use, and I'll celebrate that
Yeah.
wholeheartedly because I just want to hear Him speak. If I have a question, hi, I have a what is it? I have a question. I have not been motivated lately to read the Bible. I don't know how to read it properly, even though I believe in Him. I feel so weak. And what do you give advice for these kind of people? Um, Honestly, I stopped reading the Bible as to try to just get revelation. I just wanted to read it to get to know like God. I wanted to know how He speaks, how He moves, His nature. So I think
Mm.
reading it from that perspective will make the difference. And honestly, not even put so much pressure on it. Just read a chapter a day to try to, you know what I mean? Just read it one chapter a day. You don't have to read like 2 hours like back to back. Like God cherishes every moment that we spend with Him. So
Yeah.
like just reading a chapter a day, reading, you know what I mean, like a paragraph a day, like and just staying committed to that, you'll see the difference. Like things in your life will start to change, and starting and reading it to fashion your life after it.
Mm.
Like reading it and evaluating life, like how can I implement this into my life, and that'll make the difference.
Yeah.
One more, let's see. What can you say to someone who serves God with all their heart, but their family doesn't? They don't believe in God of the Bible. They follow Him, and they follow Him. I always struggle to do God's will. Advice for those. What's up, KJ? Man, I love you, dude. I love you. I love you. I love you. For those who like you serve God but your family doesn't, I would just say keep serving God. Because honestly, the best way to make someone hungry is to eat in front of them.
Mm.
So you serve God, live your life, live the life of righteousness in front of them. Like be because you might be the only Bible that they read. That's why it's so important to fashion your life after the word. My mom always told me, fashion your life after the word, because you as a person, your life might be the only Bible that somebody reads. So by you fashioning your life, they'll read your life, and that'll be a Bible to them. That'll be scripture, and it'll change. Like I can speak that as a testimony. Like when I first was growing up, my dad read the Bible, but he was not like sanctified. He was not about. He didn't go to church with us, none of that. He felt like he was hellbound, and I remember just like being like, God, I want my dad to love you. I want him to love the Lord, and I remember like in 2015, like going before the altar, like God, I just want you to save my father's soul. You know what I'm saying? Today, I can tell you my dad is a man of God. Like he loves Jesus. It went from like from and for being a kid, go to church with your mother, do what your mother says, to now him saying like, I can't wait to see Jesus face to face.
Mm.
Like he has a prayer room in his house that he uses. I'm getting stirred just thinking about it. My dad, oh, Jesus, my dad loves the Lord, and I'm a testimony to anybody. Like live the life and just watch what God does in your family.
Yeah. So good, man. Come on, that's so good.
Oh, it's so like refreshing that my dad, like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember
Mhm.
being a kid and my dad sitting in church with my mom and him like not really wanting to do it. But now my dad loves the Lord. Like, we have conversation after conversation, like hour-long conversations about the goodness of the Lord. And it's so amazing to just be able to have that relationship with my father. So I encourage anybody, if your family isn't serving the Lord, you serve the Lord and watch what God does in your life. Like eat in front of them and watch how hungry they get. Watch how hungry they get from just watching you feast on the goodness of the Lord. Wow, man.
Dude, that's so powerful. So encouraging.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah, man.
honestly,
Yeah, I'm
dude,
just gonna pray into that. I'm
yeah.
sorry. God, I just ask that as we as believers live the life of righteousness in front of the world, God, or you know what I mean? Like we just live the life of righteousness in front of our family, God, that you will make
Mhm.
them hungry, God, that you will spark a hunger in their hearts for you, God. Like just help us, give us the grace to walk and fashion our lives after you and after your word, God. And we just beckon the hearts of your sons and your daughters, God. If it's our cousins, our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, God, our nieces, our nephews, God, we ask that you will beckon the hearts of your people into your kingdom, God. You said if you be lifted up, you'll draw all men, God. So here we are in our lives doing the lifting, God, lifting you up in our everyday life, in our devotion, in our walk, in our conversations, in our word, in our testimonies, God. And we ask, God, that it will spark a hunger in the lives of our surroundings. In Jesus'
Yeah.
name, amen.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen. God's good, man.
Wow. Man, I thank you for bringing me on in this live, bro. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Man,
No,
keep
thank
doing
you
what
for
you're
being a
doing.
part
Like,
of it.
people need it.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And I just want to bless you and your family. And I'm excited for your future, man. I really am. And I'm definitely coming to Atlanta. Don't worry.
Please, please, man, come. I'll show you around, man. Please come to
Yeah,
Atlanta.
we'll
All
definitely
right.
have some fun.
Yeah, man. All right. I love you guys. I love you. Thank you so much. Have a good day, man.
You too, man. Peace.
All right.